And once again, a huge shout out to all of our financial supporters over at patreon.com/878survivor.fm, all of our production managers, Shane Murphy, Tank Dazza, Hawks Hammer, our producers, Red Freedom. Thank you all so much for your generous support over all of this time. Next, a huge thanks to all of our YouTube members, all of our emote bandits, our 87.8 survivors, King Alobar, Raymond Normoyle, Marson P2, Melbourne's Adventures, Pettywetty, The Greedy Peasant, Sauerkraut, and The Receding Man. And our 2 podcast bosses, Kenny Baker and Foxy Pote. All of you are legends who help the shows go on each and every week. Thank you all for your support, even just by watching or listening, and we hope you enjoy this week's show. And welcome to episode 135. Please tell me I got the number right. If anything else goes wrong, I'm going to oh my God, what a morning. Thank you all for being here. I saw Pettywetty, thank you for the €10 donation there, mate. Been a big week, and we are joined by one of the regular crew, Lad, who's just ducked off to grab himself a drink while I tried to get all this sorted. But we have our special guest of the week, Mr. ArchieStormcloud. How you doing, buddy?
Hello, I'm here. How are you?
And you've got the webcam and that sexy background on. Coming in to join the panel today is the one, the only Mr. Red Falcon. How you doing, buddy?
Hello. Greetings and salutations.
Oh, saviors of mankind and the free world. Does no one would get that reference? I don't know if you even said it for that reason, Red. Did you? Or is that just something you've heard before? You know the movie?
No. Yeah.
What's the? I've got to challenge you here. What's the movie?
And of course, now that you asked me, the name is totally went out of my mind.
It's an Aussie.
I say that all the.
It's an Aussie.
I say it all the time, and
they made it famous here in Australia. A little movie called The Odd Angry Shot.
Yes.
It's a very, very strange movie. But it's set during the Vietnam War. They're an SAS squadron, and it is cheesy as fuck, but it's just so legendary down under that, it's greetings and salutations, O saviors of mankind and the free world, to which the correct response is, and to you and your charming husband. Brilliant movie, absolutely brilliant. Guys, what a week. But before we get into that, mate, we are going to chat with our man, Mr. Archie. How you been, bro?
Been good, bro. How you doing?
Yeah, not too bad. And yes, Mr. Frankie, this is Red Falcon, as in the flight system and the boats, and lots of other exciting stuff coming this way, I imagine, as well. But we'll talk more about Red a bit later. We've had him on the show.
That's God. That's God. Look at him. I'm telling you.
Let's jump over to him.
What a unit.
It's good to have you back again, Archie. How you been, mate? What you been up to lately?
Been great, man. Just doing school, streaming, and got a new vanilla server out for the community we've been working on.
Yeah, I wanted to talk more
making some videos. Yeah, just trying to get a video out every week as far as guys go, trying to get back into that. So
yeah, I watched your battery charger video, and honestly, if it wasn't for that video, I would have forgotten that thing even existed.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I run by them so much on the game, and I was just going through the files, the XML files, and the nominal values are so high, and I was like, no one uses these. And so I started messing around with it and realized all the things you can do with it, and it's so intricate with the little lights and stuff on it. I was like, I need to showcase this. I know it's not going to get many views, but someone spent so much time making that thing and put so much love into that. I mean, it's honestly one of the most intricate tools I've seen on the game. So
yeah, what's the reception for the video like? Was it pretty good?
I did okay. I mean, for a guide, my guides are like evergreen videos, so they always, over time, they'll garner a lot of views. So they never really jump off unless it's something right after a new update.
Yeah.
But I mean, this last update, I'm not gonna put, here's how to find the cuckold mask that they added. So there's really no content in the new one. But
yeah, that's fair enough.
Love it.
That's fair enough. Yeah, because I watched the video. I was I didn't even remember it existed. I'm just checking it now. It seems to be performing pretty good. So
Yeah, I can't. I'm not complaining, man.
Nice to see you still making stuff, man.
It's your guides that do it for me, Archie. Your guides are the best stuff you make. I've been in and I've watched your stream, but it's your guides, mate, because your humor really gets to shine to the fore, and it's usually semi-PG, maybe a bit of M-related humor, and that's the sort of stuff, you can do the in-depth guides on something, but if it's boring, people aren't going to enjoy watching it. It's something that you and Wobo do very well. Those cheeky little bits of humor that make you want to click the minute you see it, to hear not only is it going to be something new I'm going to learn, but am I also going to get some cheeky humor in there as well? And usually, without fail, both of you never let me down.
Oh, thanks for that. Yeah, I mean, I've toned it down a lot. I used to be a lot more crass than I am now with the jokes and stuff. But it's because a lot of people, the military humor, and then growing up in the neighborhood I did, people, if you were saying anything, it better be funny or you were going to get roasted. A lot of people didn't come from the same background, so there's like a shock jock kind of edge to it that kind of turns people off, and so I toned it down a lot.
But it's hard to know that balance, isn't it, Archie?
Yeah, man. Especially, I know every time I come on the podcast, we talk about the military, but the jokes in there, when you come out and you talk to like civilians, and they are just shocked by the stuff you say because you have no filter. But if you have a filter in the service, everyone's like, this guy's a pussy, like you can't show your weakness or they're going to twist it, so if something offends you, don't let anybody know in the service, because they're going to nail you on it. But yeah, that's one thing I had to learn. And, so yeah, but I've toned it down.
I just watched, just started watching Joe Rogan's podcast with Mike Glover. Wow, really, really good one. If you've ever served, definitely worth a watch. Well, not so much. The guy was a Green Beret and all the rest of it. So probably a lot different to what most people have ever done. But just talking about that transition to getting out of the military and stuff like that really hit home. But yeah. No, it's great seeing you getting active again, Archie. How is the server going? Is there anyone else working with you with that?
I've got Triggy, my go-to guy, man. I'm blessed to have him. I've got another couple of guys that are helping me out, but I don't want to be an admin whatsoever, because I don't want it to end up one of those like Milo the average sniper things, or like any of those accusations. As soon as I raid a base, people are going to think I used admin tools or something. So I don't want anything to do with it.
The second you put your name to a server, people assume you're involved with the running of it. So you're damned if you do, damned if you don't, kind of thing.
Yeah, you're right, bro. I'll mod the Discord. That's about it.
Look at when Spaggy had the server called the Running Man. People used to join the Running Man stream to complain about the server respawns and things like that, and it was just, dude, I don't run it. It's just named after me. But yeah, the second you're associated with one, your life is never the same again. Running a server is insane, and all of us here, I think, have been involved in that. Red, have you ever done the server management, or are you mainly just mods?
No, absolutely. We've got 5 servers right now under the disaster area name.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a challenge, isn't it, lad?
Yeah. No, it's can be fairly difficult. I know some people, they like to buy a second account, one for playing, one for admin work. I know Domp is quite reputable for that. He used to play on a second account on New Dawn servers when they were still around. And I'm actually like taking all of this kind of like information in, because I'm working on my own server, Namalsk based. Development's kind of halted because of one block, and it's a piss take, and I hate it. But learning and just hearing about people's stories when it comes to tiny name to a server, that's going to be scary.
It's a lot of work. That's the other thing, and then like the server usually stays between. I mean, it's low pop, but we're doing okay for a fresh server that's 4 weeks old. But the amount of cheaters that come on there on a low pop server, and you have to ban them and check tickets and all this stuff. And then people are coming in and deleting people's bases and shit. It's just that's the part that aggravates me. And that's the hardest part about running a server is people. And it seems like it's other server owners doing it, but I don't know. I don't care enough to look into it. But what else is the motivation other than just being a dick to go on there and start deleting people's stuff? You know, because you can look in the CF tools logs and see no one broke down a wall, but all the barrels are gone, you know, on people's base. Then I got to roll the server back or have one of the admins do it. That's the hardest part, is just dealing with the people who are trying to sabotage your success, especially when you have a.
I've got to interrupt you, mate. Scale Speedy, you're a cheeky fucker. Anyone see his comment there?
Average age of the podcast crew must be well north of 55 now.
hey,
if I was
Red, isn't Scale Speeder that old?
I would be offended if I was Red. How old do you think Red is? I'm 49. And maybe Lad and fucking Archie should be quite offended here as well. What is he thinking? You guys?
I am offended. 40s? How dare you?
I'm 32. How old are you, Lad?
26.
Oh my God. Just a babe in the woods.
Yeah, we're old enough. We're old enough to be his dad. You're probably old enough to be his granddad, actually, Red, aren't you?
Oi, oi.
Hello, Granddad.
Call me Pappy.
Oh, God.
Hello, Pappy. How you doing?
Oh, that's awesome.
He's a good lad.
So, what was the inspiration for the server, Archie?
Well, before
before.
Yeah, no, I have a very particular taste in DayZ, you know, kind of similar to yours. I'm all about the survival challenge and stuff, but people just don't want to play servers like that. So I figured if I was going to spend my time and effort in trying to put a community together, I was just going to make a straight up default vanilla server, because when I stream, I want to play vanilla servers, and then I'll click a vanilla server and it's fucking unlimited stamina, 10 times loot, you know, party system, and you're just putting vanilla in the title so people will click it. So I went through probably 5 or 6 servers one day on stream that were not vanilla, that said they were vanilla.
Yeah. And
it was just aggravating. It's just straight up false advertising. And so we decided on the stream, let's just take up, you know, donations. We'll set the goal for $100, and if we can hit it, we'll start a server. And we hit it in like 15 minutes. So we just launched the server. Yeah, so I mean, it's called Default DayZ, and it's legitimately default, the night system, everything. So if people are coming on there asking for code locks and shit, it's not going to happen. I mean, it's keeping it straight up default, keeping the stream snipers and shitheads off of there. And I know when I say that, it makes us a target for the stream snipers, cheaters, and exploiters and shit. But, you know, I've got 4 people. There's a lot of cooks in the kitchen as far as the admin thing goes. So, and so as long as... Yeah, as long as it keeps going as well as it has, I think we'll be pretty successful within the next couple of months. But I'm not adminning at all, so please don't DM me or come in the Discord and tag me, because I'm not at all.
Good luck with that.
I'm doing that anyway.
I mean, it's kind of like when I make a guide and then someone comments on there, "Hey, when are you guys gonna fix cars?" And I'm like, I don't work for Bohemia, dude.
What do you mean fix cars? They fly just fine.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, battery charge is cool. How about you fix the infected? I'm like, hey, man, I'm right there with you.
Oh, God.
Fist, I think there is something like that already. There's a marker or something that automatically shows
on the
you.
launcher.
And if straight up, you've got the if it's community, more than likely it's going to have a mod of some sort, whether that be CF tools or you know, something along those lines. But yeah, if it's official, it's got nothing. If it's in the community tab, it's more than likely got at least one mod on it. And usually, I use the official launcher, which I'll be talking more about that shortly. But yeah. That usually sorts that all out straight for you. Archie,
I just want to say while we're on the topic, if there are like 10,000 vanilla servers that have 4 people playing on them, if anyone's interested in folding your community into another community, all right, because there's no reason there should be, you know, like I said, 1,000 servers with 4 people playing on them, right? If we could fold your community into our community, it's going to be paid for. It would be better for everyone in the long run. If we could just, you know, merge, honestly, it would create a better experience, I think. I think that's the problem. There's this huge influx of vanilla servers right now.
Yeah.
Because I think everyone's just burnt out on all the mods and the crazy shit.
What's it like over on console? Is it the same there with the amount of community servers?
I
Anyone
just want
know?
a new goddamn map. I mean,
I would ask Scale Speeder, honestly. He's the
I haven't
console
looked in a
guy.
while.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I just think if we could fold it over, we can make a better experience for everybody. I know people want to be in charge, the king of their own castle and stuff. I don't play like that. It's just going to stay default, so there's nothing to even argue about.
Mhm.
So if anyone's interested in folding your community into ours, let me know.
What about your loot table? Is your loot table default, or you're playing with that?
Everything is default.
Yeah.
Everything is default. I've messed around with the idea of like turning down certain things that no one uses, but I'm not going to do it because everything is default. So if I change one thing, that opens up a floodgate for a lot of other stuff. And we're interested in creating a community for vanilla. So anyone is interested in merging, let me know. We'll go from there, but I won't take any more time on that.
Melbourne's just saying there, I'm so sick of seeing snafu, tactical flavour, airdrop. It's horses for courses. That as much as there are so many servers, one of the things we've always advocated here, lad, is if you don't like the style of service that you're seeing out there, make your own.
Yep.
Make something that you want to play on, that you and your mates want to play on. And if you're happy with that, you do you, boo. But it is. I'm in quite a few Facebook groups, Red, and you always see the post. It's always funny when someone new joins, and anyone got any recommendations for a good server? And 99% of the people who are in a Facebook group are there to either promote their YouTube channel, their Twitch channel, or their server.
Or their server.
They've got the copy pasta ready to go, Archie, and bam, they just smash them in there. And it's like going onto Twitter and saying, anyone got a good recommendation for a web designer, or anyone got a good recommendation for an emote designer? And you just sit back with the popcorn just going, oh, this is going to be good. They're going to get bombarded with DMs and my poor sweet summer child. Why did you do that?
Yes. I always get a chuckle at some of these servers that I look at their mod list, and it's what I call the no mod left behind crew.
Oh, yeah.
I like that. That's
where
good.
you've got 5 different weapons mods, and I can guarantee if I go on there, it's like, oh great, some 338. What one does this go in? Because there's 8 different bullet types that are all 338.
The worst is when they go ahead, lad. I'm sorry.
No, not going, Nick.
The worst is when they repack like 15 mods, so then you have the same mod on your computer 35 times. I hate that shit.
Don't get me started on the repack soapbox. Why are you making everybody re-download all of these mods?
Yeah, man, it makes no sense. I used to wonder why people were against repacks. No one could give me a straight answer. And then one day DOJ was telling me, he's like, I've downloaded the same mod 15 fucking times, man. And I was like, oh, I see what you mean. I see why you're angry now.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just an absolute piss take, and their excuses for trying to do the repacks. Oh, well, we want to maintain this plan. It's like, well, yeah, okay, but that mod's still getting updated. You're gonna just have broken stuff, and then people are gonna complain at you, and they're gonna complain at the original mod owners, like, your guns don't bloody work on this XYZ, and it's just like, yeah, that's been fixed for like a year, dude.
Yep.
It's ridiculous.
That was the sort of thing that put me in the just saying, no, you can't repack.
I just say that outright, yeah.
I have a few out there that I let people repack, and I just let it go because I don't update them very often. But all the complex mods, I always say no repacks. I actively look to see if anybody's repacking and shut them down.
Yeah, well, that's it. I mean, I get the same thing with my lighten mod. So it's not compatible with Winter Chernarus because it overrides the rain, right? So so if you want the snow to come back, you have to download my winter compatibility mod. But I let people repack that. That's perfectly fine. It's just a simple config change. Do whatever you want. It somehow works, right? But the main lighting mod, no, I don't let people repack, and I still get people asking if they can repack.
Oh, it's
no, you can't. And instead of me saying, oh yeah, you're not repacking, go F yourself, I just simply say, look, do you want some help with a lighting config? I can give you some pointers and give you some tips, and then you can, make something that overrides mine or adds on to it. That's fine. I'm happy with that. They don't like it.
Mr. Frankie,
it just doesn't make any sense.
I've actually done a quite an in-depth interview with Red Falcon some time back, where we went into a lot of that, mate. If someone could find that link and put it into chat for him. But from memory, no, you've never flown IRL, had you, Red Falcon?
Flying,
like you've
yeah,
never
flying,
been a pilot.
no.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been cargo, I've jumped out of, but never actually piloted myself. Other than RC helis and obviously in other flight sims.
Yeah. If you just go to the our YouTube channel and just search his name, Red Falcon, you should get a link to it. It was when the Red Falcon's choppers was first coming out, and Red was generous enough to give me a custom tour of his server, and despite the ping, even I managed to fly a little bit in his choppers, and I loved the fact that I'm probably a bit like you, Archie. I like the fact that the choppers weren't just easy to use, that you actually did need to spend a bit of time. You couldn't just jump into this helicopter like you can with most of the other ones out there. Just press the auto hover and fly away. He had it set up well, based on a bit of feedback from myself and others. But there was some skill involved in flying them, Archie. Did you ever use them?
I flew helicopters one time in DayZ. Me and Dude Thor were raiding a base, and he's like, "Nah, you go ahead and fly, mate." So I got in and flew us right into the side of the building, and then I just hear him yelling "cunt" for 10 minutes. I never. Yeah, that was crazy, man. But no, I'm pretty good at everything in the game except helicopters, bro. But I don't play. Like I said, I really don't play modded servers a lot. I'm not, talking down anyone who does. It's just not my bag of bones.
No, it's horses for courses, lad. It doesn't matter whether you want to play vanilla or you want to play a hardcore elitist mode, as some like to say. You play whatever the fuck you want. You just be prepared. People want to take the piss out of you. I get the piss taken out of me all the time for being a hardcore elitist. But you play what you like, lad, don't you?
Oh yeah, I mean that's it. It comes at the end of the day. It's like every single server has something there for you. But there is, in my opinion, there's a growing problem where too many servers are too similar. With the same, kind of what we're talking about, the same exact mod. So to me, it's getting harder and harder to find that server that caters. I wouldn't say caters to you, but like checks all the boxes for you. And it is getting harder, but I still maintain that the DayZ community, when it comes to servers, do have that. It's just not as easy as it used to be.
And yeah, there is Michael Patterson. There is somebody, I can't remember his name, which is embarrassing. But yes, I worked with somebody who did a add-on to my helis that added auto land, an actual proper auto hover that you could toggle on and off, which I'm never going to do, and then auto land. And it was for his server had older players, so they weren't as nimble on their fingers on the keyboard, so they just wanted to make it a little bit easier. So I said, seems like probably the only legit use case, and so I showed him a few things, and he went and built his own. Just
say PvE. You don't have to say older players.
But no, there's nothing wrong with that. When Red was developing the mod, the key thing I said to him is, add in as many options as you can so people can customize it to how they want it for their server. And if they want to go balls to the wall, cock and ball torture, hardcore, they can. And if they want to go, pretty much autopilot, cruise control, sit in the back and have a cuppa while the helicopter flies from A to Z, they can do that as well if they want. Not really what I want, but it just enables a greater uptake of your mod. And if it's easy to do, most people should look at something like that with any mods they make. As many customizable options so people can do what they want. But getting back to the point about the that you've raised, Archie, lads are raised as well. People in chat are agreeing the amount of servers that are copying each other. It is kind of sad because in some cases there is something they want different, maybe another mod or something like that. But in other cases, they're just outright trying to copy another successful service format. And that's always disappointing to see. I understand it, but it's...
they're even putting the name.
Yeah.
Like if you search day one, there's all these servers that pop up to say day one inspired. You know,
Yeah.
it's just clickbait to get them to pop up in the filter.
Mate, it's actually unusual if they say inspired. Most of them don't even bother to do that. You know, we managed to get Choco to change his, but the amount of other people who are doing it's kind of sad. It's like, you know, don't you take any pride in wanting to establish yourself in your own style, your own?
They don't know how, man.
Yeah.
I was literally just about to say it's like as cynical as it sounds, and you know me, I don't want to be like too negative on like certain things, but it's like it has more than likely come to the point where it's extremely difficult to make your own original idea for a server. It's either have an extremely highly modded PvP server, a vanilla or vanilla plus style server, hardcore or roleplay. But the thing is, it's like, what ideas do you implement and what ideas are going to attract people? Because you already know what a big demographic of people want, and they're already playing it. So it's kind of like, okay, so how does it work? And so it's when it comes down to that, it's like, yeah, people are going to start copying each other. It's like, well, it's working there, it's got to work for us, and surprise, surprise, it doesn't.
Yeah.
It doesn't work because the people that already want to play in that server are already playing on that server. Why would they go to something that's copied or inspired? It just doesn't make sense to me.
And especially, a lot of them forget that it's not just as simple as going in, looking at the list and copying their name. A lot of the time, it's the people behind the server, Archie, that make the server. You know, there's a lot of people who spend a lot of time working behind the scenes, keeping servers running, from handling the tickets and the butthurt people who, you know, just had a bug destroy their car or something like that, and dealing with the blowouts in general chat and things like that. It's not easy. It's not easy, is it, mate?
No, I'm not. I'm telling you, my hat's off to server admins, man, because I can't deal with whiny people, period. You know, there's just something in me that's like, I can't help you. I don't want to spend, I don't have the energy. I'm not going to, deal with it. So those people have no idea. Every time, it's like working at a call center, I guess, people call you every time they have an issue. That's how it is with admins. And then people will blatantly cheat. I've noticed that running servers, they'll blatantly cheat. I'll have mountains of evidence people to send, and I'll, send them, put all the, because when you ban someone on CF tools, it's public. Like every other person using CF tools can see that this person was banned on this server. I actually removed a couple people's bullshit bans off of CF tools, but so if I'll have all the evidence, that's reported to me, I'll ban them, and then they'll still come in there trying to argue with me and claim they're innocent and have this big conversation. It's just not even worth it. So the people that do it, you got my respect, because it's like a full-time job that they're not getting paid for.
Well, you've just given me a really, really good segue into one of the topics I wanted to talk about today, and that was about the been a bit of a blow up about mods, and it's kind of a rabbit hole that you can go down. We've been down this before, lad. I went back and I listened to the DayZ has or DayZ's backdoor hacking is getting out of control or something along those lines. I can't remember the exact name of it. And recently there's been a video out there, saying DayZ's biggest scandal and 3.9 million people are at risk, and it is a rabbit hole, and once you start going down it, you can easily get lost in it. But it's not quite as simple as it's been made out to be in that video. The risk is actually very minimal based on what we understand at the moment. I've done a lot of research this week. I've spoken to Inclement Dab. I've spoken to Keegan, or Gravity Wolf. Sorry, not Gravity Wolf. Keegan, behind the Battle Royale mod, who now is, he doesn't do DayZ stuff anymore. He's got a full-time job and doing really well. Had a really good chat with him the other day. I reached out to a number of people because as we all know, I'm pretty much out of the four people on the show today, I know the least about fucking mods. All of you guys have created a mod to varying degrees. But I wanted to try to get my head around, and So the accusation in the video was pretty much that data's being exposed and these mods are getting into your computer. Now, everything I've seen, Archie, says that is not possible based on the average DayZ mod. What do you know about it, Archie? Because I haven't had a chance to speak to you this week, so we'll start with you. And you obviously know what I'm talking about with the video and all the rest of it. We're trying to avoid talking about the people because there's a lot of argy-bargy, he said, she said, butthurt, it sounds like to me. But regardless of that, the topic they're talking about is something that people do need to know about. And you read through the comments on that video, I don't know whether you did, Archie, but there's a lot of people genuinely concerned over what they were claiming in that video.
Yeah, I don't know if people can backdoor into your system through a mod. I mean, it's possible. Anything's possible with the things people write these days, but I'm not afraid of that, downloading mods that someone's going to backdoor into my computer. I could be being naive. I don't know, but I've definitely seen backdoors. I've sat with the creator of one of the most successful admin tools in a Discord call while he showed me him backdooring into servers that were spoofing their player counts. Like we were just going through and seeing how many of them were doing it, and he had a backdoor into people's servers. Not their personal PCs though. You know what I mean? So as far as that goes, I have no idea. You got to watch what people say, especially people that are looking to grow a channel and grow a community and grow their brand. They're gonna be drama dogs and reach for the stars with some of the shit, and a lot of it is unsubstantiated. Which that. So.
Well, I saw you shaking your head, lad, when he said about he doesn't know if you can backdoor in to an actual computer. What's your understanding of that?
You can't straight up.
Yeah,
I mean, there's the clarity.
Yeah,
you could.
Yes.
From my understanding, you can't. There's no possible way for you to do it.
What I was told by someone who I'm not going to say the person's name, but what I was told is at the moment, from what we know, you can't, but it could be possible. And there are theories on how to do it, but no one has actually, that we're aware of, has done it. So we can't say it hasn't. Red, looks like you've got something to say on this. Go for it.
I'm going to be dubious on this. So the just to get into a little bit of the technical components of this, the whole backdooring thing, which we're talking about a lot, is kind of starts with, I want to protect my mod. And it's usually people selling their mods or whatever. And so they'll say, well, okay, first I'm going to obfuscate part of it, which makes the PBO or the file that the mod's in so that it can't be opened, which there are ways to crack those. And then the next level is, okay, I'm going to make a server-side component that I'm going to give out to specific people that purchase my mod, and the mod is dependent on having that server-side piece to work. Okay, so then the next level is I'm going to add some code into the server-side piece that does what I call a phone home, which connects back to my server and validates, maybe it sends a code and then I hash it and send it back and it validates, that's legit. There are some modders that maintain a list or directory of approved servers. And it'll check their IP, and then if the IP isn't on the list, it'll shut it down. And once you have that, then that opens the door towards you can send stuff back to the server depending on the mod and how that's set up. And that's where you're getting into now being able to manipulate stuff in the game context. Now, where I was scoffing at, there is a path that you could get to the client side, is if you include that kind of backdoor phone home functionality into the client side, that it's potential that somebody could get in to your client-side app to mess with it. Now, the question is, could you make code? How compartmentalized is that? And could you make code that could break out of the DayZ game context to actually get into your computer? And then it would be passing some kind of a seed that would then open up your whole computer to access in a typical hack. So that's where I think it's possible. It would not shock me to see that it had been done.
That's pretty much what my mate said as well. He goes, I think there's ways to do it. I've thought about it, but I'm not interested in exploring it, but it could be possible. Just that we're aware of, no one has ever done it. Lad?
Didn't think about that way when it comes to the programming side. Falcon is clearly a lot more experienced than me. He's got a lot more knowledge. But from what I've always been told since I started modding to this point on, is that it is just straight up impossible. And let's just also consider the fact that any kind of mod that has access to stuff like that to manipulate or to gain access to your system outside of the client would not be allowed on Steam. Let's just put it that way. Having stuff like that would make them legally viable, I would assume. Obviously, I'm not a lawyer. Take my fucking, words, whatever. But at that point, considering...
Who's going to look at it? Who's going to look at the code? Who's going to find that?
The community.
That's what I was thinking. Honestly, yeah.
Because see the thing is
that for that lad, the community.
Well, the community. But let's just take this into consideration as well. The last time we had a big backdoor situation, which we spoke about in a previous episode, was with the Dill situation.
Yep.
Now the community came together.
To this current one as well.
Yeah, some people in the community came together to discover this, and they presented it to pretty much everyone and anyone that would listen. Turns out it was true. Actions were taken. Now that person's no longer part of the community, and he's been radio silent. And I'm pretty sure if somebody else was doing something like this, a similar situation would happen, and then BI would try and patch that vulnerability as well.
One of the
that's what I would anticipate would happen if
one of the issues,
it ever did go through that route.
One of the issues I saw with the limited understanding I have, and I know there are exceptions to this, but for the most part, most of the malicious stuff that you install on your computer is, in most cases, it's not just a case of downloading it onto your computer. Some programs can be made aware, but usually when you install something like that, you're going to get warnings popping up saying you're installing something hazardous or it's asking for permissions, and that's where you've got to be careful. Most of your DayZ mods, thanks, Mark, I'll fix that volume right now. But
I've turned myself down already.
Oh, okay, cheers. But yeah, most DayZ mods are just running in the background, and the game is talking to the mod on your computer, and that sort of thing. And that's pretty much as I understand it with my basic level, that's pretty much the limit of the majority of these mods and how they work. They're not actually going anywhere else other than to the DayZ server and back. Where an area that I think a lot of people need to be more concerned about, based on my understanding, Archie, is with these third-party apps that people use to do stuff with DayZ. Now, the examples I can think straight away of, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with these at all, but these are programs that you're actually running as an executable. And with my limited understanding, that's a big part of making these things have better access to your computer, Archie, is, like, for example, how many different launchers have we got for DayZ? There's the DayZ SA launcher. Is there Wizard one? I can never remember the one that Jad made.
Magic
Launcher.
Magic Launcher. Yeah. These sorts of programs are ones where, you do need to think about it, and you've got to make that risk assessment, Archie, of is it worth using a third-party launcher that's not an official one that I'm going to downstall and execute? Because, again, with a little bit of research I did, I watched a few videos with hackers talking about how they do things, and they've got this ability to be able to merge a virus with a normal program. So you'll download XYZ installer, and it'll do what you are downloading it for, but you've also attached to that, and in the code of all of that, is this other actual virus. And you've just basically installed that on your computer, and it's doing what you wanted it to, but it's also doing more, Archie.
There was, I think, Some Ordinary Gamers actually covered something like that. I
Yes.
can't remember which program it was exactly,
Yep.
but he made a video about it and he showed how easy it was for you to install something like this. So
Yeah.
Sorry, Archie, I know he's addressing you, but I just wanted to...
No, I was just gonna. You know more about it than I do, man. I run antivirus software. I don't use third-party launchers. I'm kind of wary of any of that, honestly. So I think the vanilla launcher works just fine now. So
It does.
I got rid of all of my third-party launchers. I have DayZ SA for the times when I need to expeditiously download mods. Like say I'm going to do something live and I just want to get it done. But other than that, I don't have any. I got rid of Magic Launcher, DayZ SA, all of that. So I'm really kind of cautious about, because I've been hacked, as you guys all know.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, I lost.
Have a look at your logo on the stream. Mate.
I've lost. I lost $6,000, man. I mean, and the guy was good. So I've been very wary since then. I would just say put two-factor authentication on everything. Keep yourself safe. I don't think server owners are making any attempts to get into your email address and steal your information.
Majority of them won't be. And the reason I bring this up, and I want to clarify again, there is nothing about. I have never heard a single thing about DayZ SA or Magic or any of these other ones doing anything malicious. But a while back when I had my little scumbug, there's a tool called Scum Admin Helper, and it's an amazing fucking tool. It is, for those who play Scum, it is god tier with what it will do. You just have it running off to the side, and you can spawn stuff in if you've got the admin access, and it's really, really intuitive and clever. And I just, you mentioned Some Ordinary Gamer, lad. I watch a lot of his stuff as well, because I'm a fucking idiot. And I am the sort of person who would probably download something fucking maliciously. And I had downloaded this, and I was just like, I'm going to reach out to a few people. And I think I reached out to Dab and DeOne and a few others. And I said, what do you guys think of this? And they looked into it and they went, it's asking for a lot of permissions on your computer. Now, Red, have you played Scum? Do you know the tool I'm talking about?
I have played Scum some. I've looked at the tool briefly, so I'm aware of its existence. Yes.
Do you know what I'm talking about, though, with the types of permissions? I think they said it was wanting like God tier admin permission on my computer, and they were like, why does it need that permission level?
That is true, and also as a software engineer, I can say that could also more likely be a lazy path, where when you're looking at building some software that somebody's going to run, it's a lot easier to say, I just don't want to worry about what permissions I need. Just set it on admin and I'll figure it out later, rather than being meticulous and starting from, I have no access, let me start picking up things that I need. And so that happens more often than not. And that's certainly possible. I think where the protection, and Archie mentioned antivirus, so hackers or people that are building these viruses or Trojans or various other things, they're for the most part lazy and not super talented. I mean, there are a few out there that are really good, but it's a lot of copy pasta. And so those things get fingerprinted by the antivirus companies. And that's where your antivirus will pick that up. Even if you give it permissions, it'll say, whoa, this has a fingerprint of does bad stuff. Let me quarantine that. I'm going to take a look at it. And they've gotten pretty good. It's usually stuff that's 0 day or very released very shortly before you try to load it that won't be picked up by antivirus.
The other thing you need to be aware of, lad, is, okay, now we've mentioned these third-party apps that people use very commonly. You see someone say, oh, the vanilla launch is pretty ordinary. Everyone spams fucking, use DayZ SA, it's so much better. And again, I'm going to clarify it again. We're not throwing shade at the people who make DayZ SA. It's a great tool. I've used it and I loved it. But the problem here is, now we've seen recently some massive hacks of big companies. Here in Australia, one of our major medical companies, Medibank, or I think it was, got hacked. One of our phone providers. We're seeing it all the time. What's to say that someone's not going to hack into DayZ SA launcher and install something into it and take it over? This is the sort of stuff that when you're looking at these things, it's risk versus reward. If if it's mainly a gaming PC and that's all you use it for, then you probably don't have much. But if you like the majority of us, you're probably using it for your banking, your emails, and everything like that. These are things you need to consider, lad.
You always do need to be careful in some aspects. But see, the thing is, I would personally like to think that in today's generation, today's world, a lot of people have massive common sense when it comes to being online, doing anything, computer-wise. And, I don't really know what much more to say about it because, for example, my online presence is very well regulated. I only stick to websites which I know and I trust. I'm very skeptical.
I was gonna make the same joke, but I was like, nah. I'm too predictable, man.
Oh yes, but going away from that, I trust the websites that I use.
You've got it running in the background right now. That's why he's smiling.
But is it as a viewer or an uploader? That's the question.
Did you find out?
OnlyFans, that lad is the Chad.
I gotta pay the bill somehow, on top of my job, which is feet pics. Anyway, so yeah, so stick to the websites obviously that you use, all the time. Always check on certain other sites which keep a log of what services have been compromised. Like recently, Royal Mail's been absolutely scuffed. They had a cyber attack at the start of the year, which has prevented me from sending parcels outside of the UK. It was a miracle Scale Speeder got his. I still feel sorry for Fly because I want to send him his plaque and I want to send other stuff, but I can't. But when it comes looping back to the DayZ SA launcher, even though it's a reputable app, in which, quite frankly, I'm starting to dislike, it's you still gotta be a bit careful. And every time a new update comes out for anything, check it. You gotta check it. You gotta make sure that it's safe and secure, especially if it's from a third party website or anything like that. You just gotta be safe. I mean, Red Falcon, I'm pretty sure you would agree with me.
Oh, absolutely.
Not, how
absolutely. Absolutely. And on top of that, Archie brought up something which is use multi-factor authentication so that it's your authentication is something and something you have. Use complex passwords. Password 123 bang is not a good password.
Yeah.
Use those 16 character random passwords.
I use these suggested generator ones. Well, I was sitting. I think when we talked about this last time, lad, I was sitting outside only a few days before, and a thing popped up saying someone was trying to sign into my Twitch account, and I was like, "What the fuck? I better get serious about this." And I went in and I just went through everything major, and she generated random, and it's fucking annoying. But there's you've got to do it. You just can't take the risk, Archie.
Yeah, no, I learned the hard way, man.
Yeah, I bet you did.
Yeah, I'm just honestly, the dude was so slick too. It was like an actual person. It wasn't a bot. They were talking to me through my brother's Discord. They were
That's how they get
speaking in like a southern slang, like my brother does. Like they went through and saw how his vernacular, and they used it, and literally just said, "Here, I have this, and don't need it, bro. If you want it." And I fucking I scanned the QR code, and bam, they got me. I mean, it sounds like, oh, what an idiot, but I'm telling you, man. Yeah, mate, no, most people would have fallen for it.
It's no, don't call yourself an idiot. Like for those who follow, I watch. There's a few channels on YouTube. Jim Browning, I think his name is one of the biggest, and he's like a counter hacker. He's one of those. He does those call center takedown videos,
Oh, yes.
And he got
yes.
done.
Mhm.
And he did a video showcasing it, just saying, I got done. He said he caught it at the last second before it went too far, but even he almost got done. They are constantly evolving and changing
Well, they're
and
good.
updating their tactics. There's even down to I had a text come through the other day.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. They got my mom like that.
Yeah, with I can't remember what it said again, but it was basically along the lines of, "Hey, mum, oh, there we go. Hi, mum, I've lost my phone and I can't find it anywhere. Can you save this number and text me through WhatsApp when you see this, please?" And I just replied, "Oh, my darling, are you okay?" Because I know it's bullshit. And yeah, we've got numerous ways that we could talk, but there are so many ways that people are looking to try to fuck you over, and you've just got to be careful. And when it comes to trying to get back a bit onto point, when it comes to downloading mods and stuff like that, you've got to be careful. Most of the reputable servers, they're either going to make stuff in-house, or they're going to use the more trusted brands that are established and known. Now, I don't want to throw shade at him, but when you're dealing with people with Nightwolf's reputation, there's going to be risks that you take installing his stuff on your computer. I don't understand fully how his system works. I've tried to reach out to him, but he's not interested in coming on, because I do respect that the guy makes money from modding, and everyone knows that I support modders being able to monetize if they wanted to, and I do think BI should do something better there. But it's Red. You've got a bit of a better understanding of how that works. And what are there ways that modders can get you to install stuff if they do have malicious intents? And it's happening, folks. There's countless examples of games. You've only got to look online where there have been hacks done. Either in-game, people getting you to install something just by talking to you, social engineering they call it, or through getting you to download something as part of
I think that so actually to start with, since you mentioned the Russian gentleman, his stuff definitely has backdoors in it, 100%. That's how he manages whether you're allowed to use the mod or not, and that's where he shut down people that he decided to cut off. So just know that if you're running his mods, that's there, and he can shut you off at any time. That being said, I think that likely some kind of malicious code relating to mods. It's like I said before, it's possible through some gyrations to actually do it through the mod client side.
Yeah.
But I think more likely it's going to be something you mentioned, which is the old social engineering saying you need to also install this on your computer, or it makes it better, or something like that, and being able to Trojan that way rather than trying to navigate through the DayZ structure and architecture, likely doing something like writing a file to disk and then renaming it to an exe or something. That is possible, but I haven't seen it. I think as soon as it was exposed, there'd be a lot of people get slammed to the floor, whoever was involved in it. So that's why I think we haven't seen it. Plus, there's only a few modders, I think, that are big modders who would get broad distribution of their mod that would also have the ability to code at that level. But there's like a handful of them. So
that said, almost anyone can go online and download. There's modders who actually sell their viruses and stuff like that. So whilst they might not be able to come up with it themselves, there are ways where they can get simple, nasty fucking things, whether it just be because they want to fuck you over and brick your computer, or they want to get in and, I'll mention it, but even TikTok, you install that and it's tracking your fucking keystrokes and things like that on your computer, and people get
but all apps do that.
Yeah. Everyone knows I've got to be in my bonnet about fucking TikTok.
All those keystrokes are going straight back to the Chinese intelligence. So
Yeah.
There you go.
I mean, yeah, it's going to be pretty concerning once they know what kind of stuff I go on a certain hub website. I mean, shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's one of the things as well. Getting back to the video that started all of this was they were talking a lot about IP addresses, and that they're getting your IP addresses and all the rest of it. You know what? Nearly every fucking program you are using is getting your IP address. Back in the early days of community service, there was a program called Dart. I have no idea what Dart stands for.
Oh, I remember Dart.
Yeah, but it was the way you kept track of who's on your server. You could send messages. You could ban, kick, any of that sort of stuff through it. But it displayed everyone's IP address. If you're worried about your IP address, get a VPN. Every man and his fucking dog is selling Surfshark and NordVPN and Tunnel Bear and fucking Care Bear and God knows whatever else brands are out there. Get one. Most of them
are VPN. That's a good idea.
Most of them are fairly. Some people will get by. I said Care Bear VPN, but that's just a funny little reference to a drama going on at the moment. That's the only drama I'm going to make. As I mentioned of it, I'm going to make. But yeah, it's just get yourself a VPN, folks. Have it turned on when you need it. You can get them for your phones as well these days. It's not just about getting Netflix in different regions. It's about protecting your location. Hashtag ad.
Yeah.
If only.
Using VPN when you're on a public Wi-Fi is 100%. I wouldn't want to get on public Wi-Fi without a VPN. So, and also as somebody who's looking at sponsorships for the podcast, a VPN provider might be a good one. We would certainly be open to that.
Please hit us up, please.
Yeah, honestly, if you're a content creator, you need to contact your ISP and get a dynamic IP anyway. But
I'm pretty sure in the UK at least.
Wait, what? We're talking about
VPNs.
What's this? Dynamic. What? I've never heard of that before. What's this?
So
dynamic
so you
VPN
have two
talk
different. So you have two different kinds of. Did you say dynamic VPN?
I caught it too, but it's dynamic IP. Yeah,
Dynamic
so
IP.
basically, I'll let Lad do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you got your static one, which is always going to be the same, and then you got your dynamic one, which changes every now and again. And I was just about to say, I'm pretty sure a lot of them in the UK are always dynamic anyway. So
in the US too, yeah.
Yeah, so
you actually have to pay for a static IP,
which is actually quite funny, because I'm pretty sure. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't it used to be the other way around?
It used to be that all you could get was static IPs. That was way back in the dawn of time when dinosaurs roamed the earth and internet was
right.
Okay, someone's saying
when I was in my 30s.
Some community servers don't allow VPNs. I think I've had that.
That is very true.
Well. Yeah. So why would a server do that? Server admins?
Ban evasion. People trying to hide their identity. I mean, you can backtrack VPNs if you know what you're doing. It just backtracks the nodes that they use to hide their original.
But can't you ban their GUID?
I mean, you wouldn't have that if they were using a VPN, as far as I know. So, but that's a lot of it is just ban evasion, or they're trying to hide who they are, so they can get on there and do something nefarious. I mean, they're not the brightest bulbs in the batch when it comes. A lot of these people that are cheating and griefing and stuff. So it's not really hard to track them, but that's why we ban VPNs.
Yep.
Plus, there's also
not a sponsored segment either way. By the way, but Hunt and Brew iced coffee, best damned iced coffee in Australia, folks. It is fucking the bomb. But yeah.
Oh wait, boy, while I got you here, what the fuck is a show bag? It's an Australian thing, I guess. A show bag. I've been meaning to ask you this. I know I just totally red herring the conversation.
No, okay, I'm going to go with this. In relation to what are you asking that? How did you find out about show bags?
I've been watching the show called Koala Man on Hulu.
Yeah.
And I watch a lot of Kath and Kim. And I always notice they bring up but get her a show bag for her birthday. What the fuck is a show bag?
Show bags only happen once a year. And that's whenever we have our royal shows. which is basically a carnival where the farm, it's one of those old school things where the farmers come in, show off their produce, everyone gathers together. Used to be a big deal back in the day, when transport was a bit of an issue, and everyone would come into the big smoke and have a show, and the animals would get paraded, and they'd vote on the best cakes, the best fucking cow, the best rooster, the best horse. But there were all these carnival rides, and as well as the carnival rides, there are stalls selling show bags. And those show bags, they've blown out now. You can get G.I. Joe ones, you can get Barbie ones, you can get Bob the Builder ones, probably Bluey ones. And the kids all walk around with dozens of these show bags full of chocolates, lollies, toys, and they eat their fairy floss and their corn dogs, or their Pluto pups as we call them. That's what a show bag is. You just these bags of toys and chocolates and stuff. The most famous show
like
bag in Australia is, I'll see if I can find it.
I know I totally just derailed the conversation, but I don't have many Australian friends, so I thought I would ask while I was here, and I have ADHD. So. This is interesting, though. I mean, I know what a shy bag is now. I thought it was just like a gift bag where you put your lollies.
This is the most famous the Birdie Beetle show bag. Pretty much everyone has had a Birdie Beetle. It's a cheap plastic bag, and they fill it full of these sorts of things that you can see up here. The little Birdie Beetle. Here you go, $5, and it's got 10 chocolates in it. And that was it. That's the show bag. But
it's like a gift bag. We would call it in the States a gift bag, but it's like licensed. Yeah.
Yep. And there you go.
Grab bag
in the background there. Yeah. This is the show bag store where they sell all the show bags.
Bro, Australia is such a wild ass culture, man. Sorry. I thought I was either going to ask you or Don what the hell it was. So that's a good answer. Yeah.
I haven't been to the show.
Goodie bags. Yeah.
Goodie bag. Yeah.
But yeah. So there you go. That's what a show bag is.
Anyway, VPN.
Yeah. Okay, so where were we? You'd be surprised how many IP
Anywhere.
of 90. So how does that work? Ray's is saying in chat there, you'd be surprised how many IP show upwards of 90 Steam accounts. Would that be just because of the IPs that are being used by a VPN?
Well, that's one thing people don't realize, because people will mistake those as alt accounts. If you've lived in if you've been to a hotel and connected Steam, or you've been in a dormitory or a barracks or anything where everyone shares an IP, it's going to show up as 7,000 potential alt accounts. So a lot of times people will get mistakenly, banned for having using alt accounts and stuff. That's me. Ray's and I are having to deal with that right now, because that's just an issue when it comes to admin tools. But
we had that on Extracare. Quite a few people would come in with with a suspicious amount of alt accounts, and it would literally just be the case of they were either using a VPN or they were doing stuff like that. So it's a bit.
Yeah,
a lot of false positives, at least in my limited experience, but yeah.
Well, typically when you click someone's profile, it'll show you any of their alt accounts. Usually they'll have max 3. The ones he's talking about are when it pops up and there's legitimately 40 to 100, and it's just because they've logged in from many various places. Or a lot of people play in LAN centers, cyber cafes, whatever you want to call them. Right. And it'll show up all these different IP addresses from the LAN center, or all these different accounts, because those people have logged in at that LAN center. And those guys will get banned because it looks like they're running, all these different alt accounts, which looks sus as fuck, to be honest. But
it always will do, no matter what.
It takes a lot of due diligence going through there. And that, again, like I'm saying, being an admin on a popular server is a full-time job, and it's thankless, man. So it takes so much hyper vigilance to catch things and to make sure you're doing the right thing and making the right move.
So with this, the servers being VPNs and so on, is there a way, as I understand it, they can whitelist you so that you're exempt from that if you can prove that you're a decent person? Okay, everyone's nodding their heads.
I mean, sure, yeah.
So that's part of what you can do there as well, folks, is you can reach out to them. They're probably going to maybe run you through a more rigorous background check. of your GUID and things like that. But at the same time, it's up to them whether they want to do that. That's, again, risk versus reward. How important is it for you to be able to play on that server versus your privacy of your IP? Because your IP is quite an important... Brett, do you want to explain just what a person can do if they know your IP?
It honestly depends on where in the world you are, because like we were talking about dynamic IPs, those vary wildly. But while an IP is not 100% tied to your physical location, it can be, and it can definitely provide hints as to where you are, especially if you're not VPN protected. So, like for example, if you were to look at my IP, it gives the location as somewhere that's about 25 miles from where I live. Just because that's where that picks it up. But it starts to give you breadcrumbs as to where the person physically is.
Yep.
So all you need is like 2 or 3 breadcrumbs, and you can figure out who somebody is, especially if they've got
and for content
an online presence.
For modders, for people who've got that, you do need to be concerned about this sort of stuff, because you let stuff slip in your general conversation and they can start to narrow it down. That's how they get you.
Well, a lot of people do stupid shit like if you use a Grabify loaded link and they click it, and then you have their IP, what operating system they're using, what device it is. So it'll say, and then they name shit after themselves. So it'll say like Brandon L's iPhone, and then their router is called Brandon Ligma. So then their last name is Ligma. So then you just go on, and find Brandon Ligma, and everyone's information is public. It's like people fucking forgot about phone books. But anyway, so then like he's saying about breadcrumbs, you just connect the dots. It doesn't take a smart person to do this. There's borderline mentally retarded people doing this all day long and scamming people with it. So you really got to protect yourself. And change don't name your router after your family. I know, like I named mine FBI surveillance man. That way when people look up my Wi-Fi, they see that. It freaks them out. But the people just they think, why would anyone bother me? Because once you're in, so.
Yeah.
Why would they bother you? Guarantee you've got some form of income. You've got something saved away that for a lot of these nasty fuckers who aren't just doing it to be malicious, to just grief you, they're out there to steal. And whether they get $100 or 6,000 like you had taken, Archie, it all adds up over time for some of these douchebags. So you've just got to be careful of what you're downloading. I think we've kind of, unless anyone in chat has anything they want to add, I think we've kind of covered the whole beef about that video. Getting back to it, honestly, it was a lot of hullabaloo about nothing, about stuff that's already been covered in depth. We've gone into depth a bit more, and I think we've provided better examples of stuff you need to be aware of. As for these backdoors into the mods, they exist. We know they do.
Yeah. They
are there, and for the most part, at this stage, what we understand they're capable of doing is basically logging into your server and spawning bears, or in the more malicious case, as we saw in the past, selling a hack that allows people to basically use admin tools. So it's not even really a genuine hack per se. It's just a backdoor.
It's just a cheat.
Yeah, it's not a hack that breaks in and forces entry. They're just getting a backdoor and then creating a hack client that allows people to do shit that says like an admin could, or if you've got those tools. And this is another reason why playing on a server like Archie's that probably doesn't have admin tools per se can be better, because you don't have to worry about anyone having that. If someone's hacking, they're using one of the more genuine hacks that are out there on the market. I
mean, that's not news either. We were talking about that on this podcast like 3 years ago, the people using the backdoors on the servers.
Yep.
Oh, wow. It's crazy how much the hacks look like the admin tools. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I would just say to
remember
people like
those.
watch what you fall for, because there's a lot of people who are just trying to build their brand, so they're drama dogs.
Oh, and
Oh,
don't
yeah.
forget, if you want to support
Yeah.
our, I'm going to throw some shade here, but don't forget, if you want to support our lawsuit against, who can we make a lawsuit up against? Against Scalespeeder for all the trauma he's caused us with his mean comments in chat. Do a super thanks or something like that, folks. Anything over $5,000 will go to charity.
Dude, I know we talked about this off stream, but that's straight up a sham. Like, you're shamming your viewers. That, like, you get paid out for super thanks once a month, and you get 50%. And if they use iOS, you get less than that, right? If they're using an iPhone to pay you, or use YouTube Gaming, you get less than that. So that is a sham. That right there told me, okay, I need to be wary of this cat, right? Because you're trying to get people to donate to your super chat instead of like a standalone, account, PayPal, GoFundMe, whatever. That's sketchy.
Always look for.
I almost deleted my comment. Yeah, I almost deleted my comment on the video and then it got pinned. And I feel like I should, but I don't know, because I could be wrong, but I know I'm not wrong about super things because I'm a YouTube partner.
But let's not talk about that particular thing.
There is one thing I do want to read, and I had this posted for talking about that video. There was an excellent comment made on there by Arkansas. Mm-hmm. And for those who haven't seen it, I'm going to read it. Now, Arkansas, for those who don't know, is a big name in the DayZ community. I know a lot of people joke about the train and all the rest of it, but there are reasons why the train isn't out yet. But if you want to find out about that, you can go look elsewhere. I'm not going to get into that. But Arkansas...
There will be no Archie without Arkansas's offline mode. That's all I'm going to say. Yeah. There will be no guides or anything. That dude is honestly a pillar of the community, in my opinion.
Now, so the comment that Arkansas left is this. This video needs a lot of corrections. 1, mods have no system access that could harm anyone. The only info that he collected... the only info that could be collected client-side that is not already known to the server is the user's Windows username. But those are of no value to anyone. The only other thing mods can do is write files into the profile directory meant for logs, etc., which unless a user goes there to manually execute a trolling batch file, would not do anything on its own. There is no danger. None of you who play modded DayZ need to fear anything. Whatever you were told here is made up. And that confirms what we talked about, Red, that pretty much... barring a few like weird examples of, you see these clickbait emails that I don't know much about it. For the most part, for you to put a virus on your computer, you have to download and then execute something in the majority of cases. So
yeah,
Arkansas, he sums it up beautifully. Now, number 2, this Dab copped a lot of shit. I love his Discord profile. He's wearing it as a badge of honor. He's changed his profile name or description to the modder with too much power or something along those lines, which was quite funny. But you accusing Clement Dab to have malicious intent because he is on some kind of payroll. Too bad it was me who made those decisions, and I'm not affiliated or close to any DayZ server. I coordinated the feedback gathering and testing group with Deadmen. All admins of the modders Discord, including me, pinged servers who suffered from the issue, and we had some first-hand trusted contact with this. Who we had some first-hand trusted contact with. This was meant to keep out the hackers from sniffing on our fix discussion. I have contacted multiple servers, but they did not, was not partake, and just wait for the fix to arrive, or they were not affected. Yes, Dab, when asked, also made suggestions who else we could ask, but ultimately the selection was not under his sole control. Then it was also me who banned MDC because he leaked the internal build to everyone. Dab was not even around when this happened. He was not banned to delay anything, but because he broke our trust. We have done all that effort to make sure useful feedback reaches the correct people ASAP, which did succeed. Deadman was tasked to look into the collected information because he's a skilled programmer who also had prior exposure to the existence of a similar bug in Armor 3. It was the feedback provided through this effort that ended up finding the issue. The delay between finding the issue and the fix arriving on all platforms is just the usual production interval issues. There was a lot of communication needed at BI to fast lane the fix. You can all thank Deadman for his commitment on fixing this. Also, he and the other BI developers were in sole control when the fix comes out. Nobody, not even Dab or me, could have made them not release it. And there he's talking about all those issues that Vlad was talking about with Dill and the other mods back in the day. Number 3, I understand the frustration of server owners and the consequent creation of the petition, but it was indeed a waste of time pretty much. The issue was known for months, if not years before it. Could never be properly reproduced, and without a special executable server logs, would not provide any useful info. At the time of the petition creation, the issue was, however, already investigated with new info that could finally narrow it down to unauthorized network messages. So even if the petition was not made, the issue would have been fixed and probably also in the same time frame it ended up taking. Servers collaborating with cheaters is probably the only correct thing in this video. That is a real issue that most likely still exists, but any exploit that BI can fix, they do fix. You just need to give them some proper info to work with and not just cry, fix please. They have even less info about an issue than the server owner, as they otherwise can only make guesses from the outside. And the key thing there, lad, is you've got to give them info. If something happens, record it. Get the logs. Get all of that and send it through. Get in contact with fucking Arkansas. Get in contact with someone you know, and get that info to them. The best way, obviously, is through the feedback tracker, lad, but you've got to share the info. If you're aware, if there's something happening that none of us know about, why would you think BI know? Yes, they've got systems in that.
They don't play the game. They don't have time.
No.
I'm honestly, and then the biggest takeaway from that people seem to not understand is to fix a bug, they have to recreate it.
Yes.
So then they have to see what causes it. I didn't know this either in the beginning, but I've learned it in like the last year. They have to completely recreate it. So they have to know every scenario, everything that led up to
every
that bug.
possible thing.
Right. As far as I know, the hardest part about fixing the ADS bug is recreating it, because they're not even, as far as I know, they're not really sure what causes it. I'm not either. I just know when it happens, it's annoying. You know, I think it has something to do with infected strikes or something with the new collider system. I don't know. That's just kind of what I've gathered. But they have to recreate it, so you have to give them all the info you can. But there again, there needs to be a fucking webhook in the game so people don't have to go to the website, find the feedback tracker, then go into the forums or whatever, because it's so laborious to report anything.
I was just about to say I was waiting for either the webhook to report to BattleEye or a webhook to report.
Well, you can't report anything to BattleEye. That's the problem.
Well, that's it. Yeah, that is a genuine problem.
There's no way to report.
I think with stuff like the ADS bug, it's just there's a lot of legacy stuff that's probably getting in the way for that, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's got something to do with some networking side, because I get the ADS bug when I'm doing too many stuff at the same time, and I'm just thinking maybe, and I'm not knowledgeable at all this at all, so just take what I say with a grain of salt. Maybe it's just something to do with your network synchronization or a tick rate or something like that. I don't know. I could be completely bullshitting. So maybe once they improve the networking side of the game, that'll also help mitigate or fix that ADS bug. Again, I'm not too sure. The feedback tracker is really good though. It's I feel sorry for Geese. He's a one-man team when it comes to that thing. But we have noticed, and the latest patch note proved it, that they are really fixing stuff.
Everything I've ever reported to the tracker has been fixed.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah.
Man,
I had something I just reported a couple of weeks ago. It was when I was working on the boat mod, and definitely fishing from the boats was something everybody wanted. And if you were not near the shore, it didn't work. So I dug into the code and found the way they were calculating the distance from the player to the target was looking at the ground at the surface rather than the surface of the water. So I reported it. I fixed it in my mod. So if you're running my mod, it's fixed. And I looked at experimental, and sure enough, they went. It wasn't even listed in the patch notes, but they went in and fixed it in a very, very elaborate way. And see, this is the thing, and everybody who watches the show on a regular basis will know that we are both, we can credit the developers where credit is due, but we are also super critical of them if we think that they're doing something stupid, right?
Especially DOJ.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially that guy. Go back to the
Damn
place
trees.
scripting those trees, my boy.
Right.
But
That's
when it comes down to it,
he rotates them. That's the secret to his job.
yeah, you know, other server, you know, other map makers don't know how to do that, so no, that's completely understandable. But when it comes down to it, when it comes down to it, is that this patch note was fantastic, and you are right. They have fixed stuff that they haven't put in the patch notes, which is why you get a group of people who will always go in and sift and see what else they found. It's like before Warwar's video in the last patch, when the bunkers were introduced, they changed the lighting and they changed the light sources and the light settings of all the flashlights, but they didn't mention that in the patch notes. And I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. And then Warble made a video about it, so I was like, I'm glad somebody noticed.
Yeah.
But they do all those things. They always do. And when it comes to the masks, it's content. I'm not going to use it, but it's there. But when it comes to the fix, which is something that the community has been wanting for ages, they finally get quite a good few fixes, and they're still not happy.
Well, I mean, that's just consumerism, bro. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, like I've said 1,000 times, I paid $15 for this game 10 fucking years ago. I got my money's worth.
Oh, and then some. And look,
but honestly,
again, just quickly before you go, like Frankie, before you go ahead, look what Frankie said. Look at what a mess Battlefield was. Let's be glad we have a game more playable than they are still updating. It's you know, name a perfect game that doesn't have any bugs. You pretty much just can't do it. Solitaire on computers, perfect game.
Goat Simulator 3.
That was pretty
good.
But
go ahead, Archie.
I was going to say, I will say while we're on the topic of the feedback tracker, the usability is kind of, it's very antiquated. I would honestly, I saw someone say something about it in chat too, and I was thinking they maybe make it a little, I know I said a webhook, right? But it maybe even on like the launcher, sorry, you could do a feedback tracker, because most most people that play DayZ, would it peak at 60,000? 10% of them probably know about the feedback tracker or less. You know what I mean? Or know about they don't know that they have a platform to make changes. A lot of people don't know that there's no way to go and, you know, report cheaters and stuff, or there's nowhere to go and report issues. That's why they come to YouTubers and streamers and stuff like that and complain in the comment section or the chat. So, I mean, honestly, it's not all the consumer's fault that they don't know how to report stuff.
They have the message that comes up in global chat, but most people, you know, especially if you want my immersion, they turn off the official announcements and stuff like that.
Right. So, and those are so passive. Like no one really looks at those because it's usually bullshit, you know, random information, you know, arbitrary information.
The amount of times I get surprised that a server restarts, even though they've got the messages on there, is just ridiculous because I never read them. So it's like, they need to have something that's a bit more, dare I say, in your face to make it more
I like
effective.
the new update.
I love it.
Yeah, I'm very content with it. But then again, I understand the frustration with people because I had no idea that until I watched your spotlight with DOJ, I didn't know that they released extra stuff in 1.19 due to the fact that they foresaw them not getting 1.20 out in 2022. So a lot of people aren't aware of that. And every day when I mention it on the stream, people say, "Oh, I didn't know that." You know what I mean? So maybe if they would have, maybe they did make a statement, but a lot of people aren't reading into that. So I understand the consumer frustration.
I made a tutorial years ago on how to use the feedback tracker, and it done fuck all in views. And that's it. Yeah. Most people don't know, don't care. I even think at the def screen, died to a bug, click here to lodge. And, you know, it gets a bit of information because I'm certain they've got information. They get feedback from community service as well. You know, they're probably compiling all this sort of stuff somewhere. And if you click this button, it just records some of the essential data that might help them with identifying what happened. You know, did you maybe die to a hacker? Log it here. And just one button, and it creates a quick, instant feedback tracker report based on I don't even know whether that's possible. I do agree, Binger Up. They do a pretty ordinary job of promoting the feedback tracker.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's my whole point. People don't know that they have that platform, that tool, accessible. And when they do find it, what's going to keep them there to fix it if it's so laborious to use and so like antiquated, like I said. So it's hard to use, man. I mean, if I wouldn't have been so frustrated, I wouldn't have sat there and reported so many bugs. But I also know no one else is using the feedback tracker really. So, and I already have the stuff on stream, so I can just clip the stream and share the link.
Dumgar's saying there, Red, that there'd be so many false flags. And yes, of course there would be. I imagine a lot of the stuff that gets uploaded.
There already are.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, there already are.
But, yeah, it'd give them something at least, and then they could identify patterns.
Dude, I just learned more about the ADS bug from chat and two or three comments that I've heard in the whole 6 months people have been bitching about it. And I've been looking into it. So those two people that posted what they knew about it and could help recreate it could have went straight to the feedback tracker if it were in-game and easier to use, was my whole point. Right?
People should do that. They should always do that. Every time they've got any kind of information and they can have something to back it up, you should just report it. Even if you think it won't lead anywhere, you should still do it, because at the same time, if it goes somewhere and it works out, you've just helped fix a crucial bug in DayZ, and that's just going to better the experience for everybody else. Don't withhold that kind of information, even if it might not lead anywhere. And again, I can't say anything. I've got fucking stuff to submit.
Mr. Frankie, as far as I understand, there is nothing other than if you want to monetize. And even then, I can't remember, but I don't even think you have to provide any sort of identifying documents or anything like that. There's nothing. And, I can see why you'd ask that. But at the same time, do you really need to? It kind of... I'm on the fence on that one. What do you think, Brad?
Absolutely. And actually, Mr. Frankie just posed the question, can literally anybody make a server?
Yes.
And absolutely yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And honestly, rightfully so.
Yeah.
Get rid of priority queuing. And 95% of the shit would go away.
Sorry, yeah.
That is,
as long as you have the money, or you're someone like Derleth, who's got access to a kick-ass fucking computer at home where he can host his own servers and stuff like that. That's pretty much your only barrier to creating a server, money. That's as Lad said, that's kind of the way it should be. But it just comes down to not so much buyer, but user beware. Beware of the server you're joining. If they're asking you to come in, like I've been told by Asmondian, that he said to me that particularly in South America, there's a lot of servers that start up and promise the world and get all these donations, and then the server's up and it's huge pop, and then it's gone. And then a week, a month later, another server pops up doing the same, and it's a cash scam. They're just scamming people into donating. So you've got to be careful. You've got to look out. Look for trusted people, look for trusted communities, and get involved with them. If you're joining something that you don't know about and you're giving them your credit card details, I'm sorry, but you're a bit of a Darwin Award in the making.
Yeah, that's one of those fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me kind of thing.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever donated to a server that I wasn't part of, the creation process.
Absolutely, yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Now, just be careful where you're throwing your money, folks. I get, I'm very guilty of getting on the hype train with stuff. We've seen many an episode where I hype it up. This is the biggest thing to happen to DayZ, and then nothing kind of happens from it. But
yeah.
But yeah,
just,
don't jump on too many bandwagons. Do as I say, not as I do.
Right, and actually, speaking of the hype train, if you're not subscribed to the channel, please smash that subscribe button
and
and click the bell icon so you can see when we release new content.
And click all, not personalized.
Yes,
so you won't get it. If you click personalized, you won't get any.
And if you do want to get involved in any conversations that we've had or just want to give us feedback, the Discord link should also be down below. Get yourself in there. You'll hear some stuff from us. And so
buy some merch.
Buy the merch. Buy the merch.
Buy the merch.
Buy that merch. Buy that merch. But yeah, Mark's knew exactly where I was going.
Jesus Christ.
Animation framework. Cough, cough. Yeah. There's
Speaking about that,
there's a no. We can't. Okay, no, we can. Yeah, we can talk about that. Yeah, go. Because it's public knowledge now.
You talking about Hunter Z's work?
No, the animation framework and AI.
Oh, I don't know anything about the animation framework. I was just going to say that Hunter Z's working on...
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's an animation framework per se. It's more compatible with, like, mods. You still can only load that mod and only that mod with animations. Am I correct in that, Red Falcon?
You are correct. It's an animation library.
Yeah.
So since and for those that don't understand the custom player animations, you can only have one mod on your server that has a custom player animation.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just the way that it works under the covers. So
and whatever mod is loaded, it lasts in that order of when you load mods onto a server will override whatever any other custom animations. Is that correct as well?
It can be that, or it can just totally jank the server up.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah. Crash, or the animations are all messed up. So what Hunter's been working on is creating a bunch of new multi-use player animations and releasing them in a library of animations. So I know he has one in there it's being used on Pink Geek PDX's new re-released Sherpa snowmobiles. So there's actually a custom animation where the player gets on the snowmobile and it fits the snowmobile. So, and I know he's doing some for my helis and stuff too. So he's just packing them in there, and then you'll have one library of animations that modders can reference and say, if you have the animation mod, use the custom animation.
I'll pay you to let me sit in chairs that exist in the game world.
Yes,
he's already got that.
Yes, yeah, he does.
Oh,
he's already got that.
Think about the immersive RP. You could sit there and
walk up.
I just want to be able to
those hiking trail benches. Sit down and eat a can of beans at the fucking table or something like that. Yeah, go ahead, lad.
I just want to be able to do the Thanos stance, dude. I want to shake my ass around. Why not, dude? Hell yeah, why not?
Do it right now. I dare you.
Yeah, do it.
Twerk.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord.
Give it.
Come on, lad.
Give us your best She-Hulk.
No.
Give us your best
No.
What a letdown.
No.
He's saving that content for OnlyFans.
Yeah, exactly. Subscribe to my OnlyFans to see exclusive footage of my ass shaking and probably causing an earthquake somewhere.
I'll pay you not to see it.
What's the viewer numbers now after I just shook my ass on the screen?
37.
Yeah, they went up for sure. Yeah.
That milkshake. Yes, lad, do a milkshake. Yes. My milkshake brings all the boys to the yard. Damn right. It's better than yours. Damn right. And I know that song.
God. And down the hole we go.
Lost my virginity to that song.
I want to quickly scroll back. There was a comment there from Lacovus. We did, regarding the claims of Rearmed in particular, I don't know. But Archie said earlier in the stream, it does happen. It does happen that servers are boosting their numbers falsely. I don't understand how it happens. Archie, do you want to explain it?
Basically, from what I was told by a person who was doing it, is they buy Steam accounts. There's a couple ways to do it. This is one way that was verified. They buy Steam accounts for like $1 or $3, right? So say it's $1. So say they buy 30 accounts or 40 accounts. They pay $1 each. So they spent $40 to have their server at half pop permanently, because those accounts will just be somehow attached to the server. So it looks like they're logged in and on the server when they're not. And the way that the person was detecting them, the spoofing servers, he was showing me in a Discord call. He was going in, opening up the admin tools because he had a backdoor to the tools because he wrote them. And he was showing the actual players in the server versus connected to the server, right? So it would show where all the players' active locations were, kind of like a CF tools map. And there were like 16 people on, and it said there was like 127 or something. And so they were basically, and when you say it, when you think about it like this, it's like okay, the guy's trying to make it look like his server's full. What's the big deal? Well, then on top of that, they're charging $20 or $10 for priority queue.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then they're making all this money. Just fucking report these people to the IRS, by the way. I'm not going to do all the investigating, but the fucking IRS will. You know what I mean? If they're in America. So
85,000
no one-
armed IRS tax agents.
Yeah. No one's making that much money. Like the amount of money that they're dropping, the numbers in these videos is fucking ridiculous.
$2 million.
Yeah. If you're making $2 million, you're gonna have a revenue agent at your house, especially if you're a kid. But anyway, so basically that was what they were doing to spoof it. There's another way they're doing it, but I haven't been able to verify it. But most of the servers, if you've went in a server and you've been like, man, it says there's 80 people and I'm not seeing anyone, it's not because they're in their fucking base, dude. You know what I mean? You would hear shots. You would hear people shooting, wildlife or shooting out of boredom. You don't hear anything. Nothing has been looted. Nothing's touched. It happens all the time. I know we've all dealt with it. But the issue is that there's no real way to track it from, I guess, the Bohemia Interactive standpoint, as far as I know. So they can, people can say, oh, well, Bohemia said they're going to knock servers off for spoofing player counts. I've never seen an official statement anywhere that alluded to that. So just be careful, man.
Zyson saying in chat, the way to check is using the Steam player list. Very hard to lie about.
Doesn't matter.
The launcher
Doesn't
numbers
matter.
can be easily manipulated.
Yeah. If you use the Steam player list, it still shows those Steam accounts that are connected to the server, right?
Yeah.
So it looks like those players are on there and they're not. And then you'll see these people, they'll buy like 200 and then they'll cycle out, right? So the guy will be on there for 4 hours. I was shown that works. I saw that work myself. So,
and let's also not forget that in the DayZ launcher, it'll actively show a server which, if you want information how to spoof your numbers, you can do that. And the server is max pop, and it leads to a Discord link. So that needs to be addressed. Also, the DayZ launcher is annoying to start with, but this isn't to say that we are definitively saying that any specific servers are doing it.
No idea.
We're just presenting the information on how it could work. And
Yep.
Archie, you've said it pretty nail on. To any server that is accused of doing it, we basically need the information to prove it. We can't just take people's word from it.
Yeah.
And that's the key thing, is just that evidence. And then obviously if we do have it,
And that's
Again,
that's
though,
that's the key. That's the key. People can make accusations all they want, but unless they've got evidence to back up what they're saying, it means shit. Yeah. They're throwing.
Honestly,
they could be throwing
like-
shade, but if they're not prepared to back it up with names, with receipts, then they're just speaking out of their ass.
Yeah, and you have to do all the work for them. You got to do all the investigating yourself.
and I'll be fully honest.
Yeah, copious amounts of
yeah.
proof. And also,
just
before I get off the topic, it all boils down to priority queue, man. Like that's where everyone's making their
That's
money.
where the money
So
is.
I mean, you would remove and I know I'm gonna get a lot of hate for this, but you would remove the motivation and nefarious intent. Yeah, you would remove the motivation to be, because the DayZ Mafia exists. I know it's like funny.
It's happening so right now.
They just want to fucking play, man. They just want to access their base that they've built in the server. They're charging them to not have to sit in a fake queue, so it's pay to play. Just why is that even a thing? Why is priority queue a thing? I don't understand it. I know as a streamer, I don't even ask for it when it's offered. So like I can sit in a queue like everybody else. If you had no pay to priority queue, then they would have no real motivation to spoof their player counts, other than making it look like the server is more active than it is.
And look, I get it. I have nothing wrong or nothing against per se servers making money, but there are inherent issues when you are charging money for certain features that you're allowed to under the guidelines for monetization, Red Falcon. But you've just got to be aware of these folks.
No, absolutely. And anytime there's paths for monetization, there's going to be people that are looking for ways to cheat the system.
Yep. And that's just exploit it. Yep.
If you build a good enough community like I'll shout out my favourite server, DayZ Down Under. They don't do Prio queue that I'm aware of. I've never been offered it. Maybe that's because I'm just not cool enough. But I wouldn't take it if they did. I don't like it myself. I'm more than happy to sit in a queue. But most of the time, well, actually, I'm not more than happy to sit in a queue if a server's full, and I join, and it's anything more than maybe up to about 5. I'll find something else to play on. I'm not going to sit there in a queue, and yeah. But if you build a good enough community, the key members of that community will support it. And again, look for the servers that are transparent. Are they disclosing how much money they're getting coming in? Again, I'm not against people making money, but most of them have got a donate bot where you just type !donate in chat, and it gives you a link, and then it comes up and says thank you for purchasing, and it says it in chat. So they're being very open and public about how much money they're making. I like that. To me, that just makes sense. What were you going to say, Archie?
Yeah, I'm sorry, you're cutting out for me. It's like the connection, but I didn't mean to interrupt you. It's really hard to build a community around a new server, especially if you don't have a platform. Like if you're not a content creator, you don't have a stream, YouTube, whatever. It's very, very, very difficult, and it takes years. And server hosting, it can take years. And server hosting costs a lot of money. You know what I mean? Yeah. So when you say if you build it, they will come, but you're spending $75 for a 70-slot server that 6 people are playing on regularly, it's difficult. The players will come in. They'll say, hey, man, there's not 20 people on, I'm leaving, and they'll never come back, right? I mean, I've had people come into our server, even though it's 3 weeks old, complain that it's only has 12 people and they'll leave. So that's what, building a community is very, very, very difficult, and that's why these people are spoofing. They're skipping the hard part. So then these communities that are doing the hard work and are busting their asses, and these admins and server owners that are going out and legitimately, grassroots marketing and trying to build communities, they're the ones getting the shaft, and the players that are missing out on these great player-based communities with their own lore and stories and stuff. So that's just the point I wanted to make. I agree with you, Boydie. It's very hard to build a community. That's the hardest part. Yep. Because as soon as you make one change to satiate or placate one person, 10 people get mad about it.
Yeah. Mate, I'm seeing it at the moment in the DDU Discord. They're revamping and they're trying to change things. And at the end of the day, you're never going to make everyone happy. You've just got to try to find that sweet spot that keeps the majority happy, which can be hard, but and you've got to keep on trying, looking at ways to reinvent, reimagine, and you should be doing that with almost everything in your life. If you're stuck in a rut in something, look at something you can change. Look at why you're stuck in that rut, Red, and do something to get out of it. And that applies to your server, whether you're a content creator, whether you're having issues in bed.
You're hitting way too close to home.
I know I feel offended.
And Michael Patterson just writes in chat, it's very hard. Do
He's
tell us
hitting
more,
a little
Michael.
too close to home as well.
Yeah.
No, definitely, and that's for people that want to start a server, or I see that a lot. Where hey, I want to start my own server, or I just started it. I've been adminning for 10 minutes. Tell me how to do everything. It's like, okay, it's going to be an experience. It's a journey. You're going to have to be willing to dig in a little bit. But also, just standing up a server, there's a ton of those out there. Think of, it's a creative platform. Do something different. Mix it up. There's a ton of mods out there you can mix and match and, create a storyline. There's lots of things you can do. So just if you build it, they will come, the Field of Dreams server, that never works.
Nope.
And even if it does, it'll work for 10 minutes. You'll get a bunch of players, and then they all disappear.
You need when you have, in my opinion, when you have a stable server, a stable player base, you've got to keep innovating to keep them around.
Yep.
They will get bored. And and I've mentioned XTK quite a lot, especially in the recent streams when it comes to like my experiences with it. But it's like, that server had a really good thing going. That whole project was really good, especially during the alpha phase. And we always had to keep improving and keep adding stuff to keep players interested. Once we had an inkling that players would get bored, we'd be like, right, let's hash out some ideas. Let's see what else we can create. And more features kept getting added. And obviously, eventually it did die down and it went away. But that's part and parcel of every single server. You've got to make sure that, one, the idea that you're presenting first off is good and unique. Secondly, how you can progress from that idea and continue to innovate. And what is your end goal? And you can't just say to people who are playing your server, this is it, this is all you're going to get. With obvious exceptions, like, if people like yourself, Archie, who host a vanilla server, that is exactly what you're going to get. If you want a vanilla experience that is moderated, there you go. You can play on this kind of server. But for other servers, obviously it's different.
It's
and
harder.
The key thing is,
it's much
harder
because you gotta, like you're saying, you have to keep adjusting everything to keep it fresh. And where's the incentive to do that and work your ass off to maintain your population when motherfuckers are out here just spoofing it? You know.
Yeah. And if you come up with a good idea, reach out to people. Like Mark's in chat. He has blown up a lot of fucking servers by doing a server spotlight on them. If you've got something,
I thought there was an IRA joke there. Never going to be a unified Ireland, true non-violence.
Chucky Arla.
Chucky Arla. Sorry, Mark. He's my cousin, okay? I got to make jokes.
This is why I love having you on, Archie. This is why I love
Where's your
having
queen,
you on,
lad?
man.
Where's your queen, lad? Sorry.
Oh, God. Oh,
I don't want to talk about it.
It's too soon. It's too soon.
The troubles.
Troubles. Don't get us started on the troubles.
But yeah, look, if you've got something unique, send Marks a message on Twitter or something like that. Hey, Marks, this is our server. If he's interested, he'll do it. And not just Marks, there's other people. Reach out to a few creators. And if you've got something that interests them, and it's not just a copy pasta of the most boring fucking concepts out there, or even the greatest concepts out there, it's, they might come and have a look at it. And all it takes is the right person checking out your server and going, this is actually pretty fucking good. But you're going to have to put some work in. And that work could involve a bit of money. A lot of these servers that are unique, they're investing in their servers. And that's why they do things like prior queue and that. Lad, you were going to say?
And I was just going to say, and as a player, you can tell when a server is just cobbled together.
Yeah.
Where they don't care. They've got the main typical mods on Shinaris or anything like that. And it's like, yeah. To me, and this is going to kind of like sound a little bit whatever, because this is what I'm doing. You can tell if a server owner is not in it for the money, they're just doing it out of passion, is if they host something other than Chernarus or Livonia. Nomolsk is a prime example because he does not allow monetization for that map.
Yeah.
So any money that goes into the server, people know that is your money. That is the server owner's money that's going into it, and that is a true passion project. That's one example I can think of. In other maps, to be honest, is a risk. It's a risk as a server owner, in my opinion, to host a map that is something other than Chernarus, because Chernarus is just the default. Anybody can play it.
Chernarus
Livonia
and
is a
Nomolsk
little
are
bit
pretty
more.
much
Yeah.
the only two.
In my opinion.
If you get on the bandwagon when a server blows up for whatever reason, and that's a case of following, but it's a lot of work to switch servers, isn't it, lad? It's not just easy. If you've got a lot of custom mods and spawn items and things like that, it's a lot of work involved.
Let's just put it this way: every single map has different stuff to do with like their types, their spawns, everything like that. Deer Isle is absolutely ridiculous. You can know somebody's extremely either passionate or extremely lazy, depending on the tier system for Deer Isle. How well does it work? Personally, for me, I wouldn't even touch that with a barge pole.
Okay.
I would not touch it.
Sorry.
The other thing you brought up was, I was going to say, is having a streamer come on And that could definitely blow up your server. And we've seen that with some of these newer maps where they have a map that's like 50% complete. They put out a server, they get a streamer or two to come on, they blow up. All of a sudden, they're spinning out several other servers so that because there's so many people on, but it's a wave. And it seems to be like about a 2.5 week wave. And then it'll start to drop off and then they'll zero out.
Yeah.
So you got to be ready as a server admin to jump in and say, okay, what is my step 2, step 3, step 4? It's kind of like having back in the day, there was a saying about magazines that when a new magazine comes out, it's not the first issue that's the most important, it's the third. Because everybody does all their good stuff in the first issue. Second issue is like the leftovers, and the third issue is like, oh, what do we do now?
Magazines were these things back in the day, folks, that you would buy at the shop. The main one that Red Falcon used to buy was Penthouse and Playboy. He only got them for the stories, though, folks. He was purely
for the stories,
yeah.
definitely. Yeah.
You know what? While we're on that topic, I just got to say, I bring up this story all the time about when I was a kid and I was out in the woods playing and I found this 5-gallon bucket with a lid on it and I opened it, which is always dangerous, and it was full of nudie mags, right? Penthouse, all the Family Affairs, all the weird ones. Every time I bring that story up, no. They were actually, they were old, but every time I tell that story, someone goes, dude, I was in the woods and found a porn stash. It's like, I don't know if it's like a uniquely American thing that anywhere you go in the woods in the 90s and early 2000s, you just found porn stashes.
Wow.
But I just thought I might ask the chat that.
Guys, I think we have pushed this topic to its limit. There's only really one other thing other than our individual spotlights, because we knew this was going to be a big episode talking about that video and all the rest of the drama around it. But I think we handled it pretty well. One thing I do want to let people know is the patreon.com for 87.8 Survivor FM is gone. I haven't been happy with the way I've managed it. Patreon, it's a great platform, but they don't allow me to let my team access it. And the only way that I can do it is to give them the full login details, which gives them guide access to everything. And I love you, lad, but I don't trust you that much.
Hi!
So we're just going to get rid of that for now. We're going to look at that and see if there's something we can come up with in the future. But primarily our main way that we're going to ask people to support us, if you want to, is by becoming a YouTube member. And we've also now got, if you don't like YouTube, we're doing our videos over on, I've got to turn that alert off, don't I? It just pops up right when I'm talking about we don't have it anymore. Patreon. But you could also become a subscriber over on Spotify through the Anchor for podcast subscription. So that would be appreciated as well if you do want to look at supporting our show, as well as the other ones, buying merch and donating in chat and all the rest of it. But we're going to be removing it so we can focus more on doing one platform correctly. And then look at expanding it down the line. You're probably seeing some changes. Red Falcon's part of the core team for the show now as well. Cobra, who couldn't make it this week, but he's got a life. That's a good thing. He's probably out touching some grass right now. I did see him in chat before, so he couldn't stay away too much longer. But big changes coming this year. Our goal is 10,000 subscribers on the YouTube channel. That's subscribers, not members. Members are the paid version.
If only.
Look, if we could, then I could fucking pay everyone a proper wage, which I would love to do. But guys, thank you all so much. Let's do our individual spotlights. We'll start with our guest as always, Archie. What's something that's impressed you?
Well, I guess I'll just shout out a person. There's a guy, I want to say his name.
You shouldn't have.
you know me, man. Every time I come on here, I shout out like a new content creator. Yeah. It's like up and coming. There's this fella, I want to say it's Zed Med. Let me double check. But he's a YouTube content creator. He's a streamer. You've probably seen some of his shorts. I should have gotten his name right, but awesome dude. I see nothing but good things in his future. Go check him out on his streams.
Share his link in chat, mate.
Yeah, I'll have to look it up here in this. I got push to talk on my mouse, so it'll pull me back. I'll do it in just a sec. And then secondly, I just want to thank the admin team on Default DayZ. I think they've done a great job getting this set up. The last 4 weeks have been stressful as hell, but we got a default DayZ if you guys want to go play a default vanilla community server. We do have a Discord. I can share that in the chat, or I can have someone do it. And thanks for having me on. And thank you, Boydie, for doing this. And thank you, Lad, for keeping it going while Boydie was on his hiatus.
I tried.
Sabbatical, whatever you want to call it. Convalescence.
No, lad, you didn't try, mate. You fucking
didn't try.
You did. You did it. You fucking kept this show. Well, mate, the viewers aren't any different. They're the same fucking numbers. You did it, mate. You fucking did it. I'm just a selfish prick and I wanted to come back. Okay? That's the truth. I'm a selfish prick.
That's a story we can all get behind.
Lad,
I threw Zedmed's link in the chat there.
There you go. Awesome. Lad, what's your spotlight, buddy?
Actually, I was going to say I would love to hear Red Falcon's, considering it's been a fair hot minute since he's been on the show, and I'd love to hear yours, my guy.
Sure thing. I'm actually pulling up the link now. So, rather than talking about stuff I'm working on, I wanted to call out Tweaks. Some people may have seen he's done a bunch of clothing mods, both commission work and stuff that was public. He's done some weapons mods. He's done some really good scrapper weapons. And he's now also doing modding tutorials. And he's got some great content out there. And I think that it's beyond just the initial, here's how to retexture a shirt, but starting to get into some of the more details and making it more accessible for people that want to kind of dip their toe in the modding world, but don't know where to start. So I think he's doing fantastic work.
That is good. That is really awesome. And of course, mine is the community. No, I'm joking.
Jazz hands.
The community. No, I do actually want to. I do want to talk about how, with the lack of animations, and I'm touched on it before, but kind of mentioned it. But Hunter coming out with the mod that adds the library of animations. It's always nice to see somebody come up with new and fresh ideas, and trying to work around the limits of what we have. Ensure it's not like what a lot of us would like to have in terms of like multiple animation mods. It's something that we have, and it's something that we can use. And honestly, I've been looking at the videos, I've been looking at the pictures and everything like that, and it is just solid quality work, so props to him. Keep it up, mate. I really can't wait to see more updates. And secondly, I killed the producer of DayZ in the latest playtest, so that's my second spotlight. There we go. That's it. I had to mention it.
At least somebody from the dev team's playing.
I just made you a mod, Red Falcon. I have no idea what the fuck just happened. Thank you. Why you weren't a mod in the first place, but yeah.
Where's mine? I don't have it. Bruh.
Oh, mate, why aren't... because you've been using the main account all this time. So, you are now as well, mate. But yeah. Okay,
I think I'm in timeout.
I want to give a shout out to, and I touched on it a bit earlier, but I want to give a shout out to my boy Zyson, who's in chat. Spud, who is the founder and creator of DayZ Down Under, has had to step back from managing the community, and he's handed it all pretty much over to Zyson. And Zyson has taken on a big job. DayZ Down Under is one of the longest running servers in Australia, and done things a bit differently. Goes for the more hardcore vibe, doesn't go for the easy loot and all the rest of it. So it's always a struggle when you're doing servers like that. And he's not just jumped in there and gone, we'll just go with the flow of what we've been doing. He's trying to mix it up, and it is, as we talked about earlier, it is hard trying to please everyone. But him and the rest of the team over there at DayZ Down Under are working their asses off, and they've got big things planned. I've been chatting with them, so I'm excited to see what comes in the future with my favourite server. I know I go on about it all the fucking time, but it's my favourite for a reason. DayZ Down Under, great custom mods, a great example of what to do to keep your server relevant. Yeah, and like we said, it goes up and down in player numbers, always will. But yeah, they don't do any of the dodgy shit like fucking inflate player numbers, all that sort of stuff. They're a good community server, filled with good people. And I also want to thank Say it, lad.
The community.
The community. But yeah. Thank you all so much, everyone. It's been a great show this week. I hope we've managed to clarify some of the confusion regarding DayZ's biggest scandal. It's not the biggest scandal. It's just the same stuff with a few unfounded accusations and a potential scam trying to get people to donate to a bullshit fucking lawsuit that I didn't see any evidence of, but fuck them. Just don't fall for that sort of shit, people. Don't take people at face value, even us here. Do your own research, look into stuff, be aware, take some safe precautions, randomize your passwords, have a VPN if you need it. Don't download shit you don't know where it's coming from. Just take care. Don't click on weird links and don't launch executables on your computer if you don't know where they're coming from.
Don't scan QR codes ever.
Yes.
Don't scan QR codes.
Yes.
Also, if you don't know how to join, it's the join button down there below the video player. You can probably do it through the description if you're trying to become a member and you don't know how.
Yes.
And you're afraid to
please
ask
do.
because you don't want to look silly. Click that join button.
No, absolutely
the
do click the
subscribe
join.
button the subscribe button is completely safe. So
Yeah.
if you aren't
Yes.
subscribed, click on that.
And make sure that you hit the bell notification icon so you can get all of the notifications for the show. All the support that we get, not only for everybody being in chat, but everybody watching, subscribing, becoming a member, donating, everything. We really fully appreciate it, and we'll always hope that you continue to watch every single week. We'll love you to bits, absolutely. And road to 10K. Let's see if we can actually reach it by the end of the year.
Oh yeah,
and we can't do it
we'll
without
have to
you
do
guys.
those clickbait titles, won't we? Road to 10K.
Shorts,
No.
man. Shorts.
Yeah,
Yes,
we're
we
doing
need
some
to
shorts. Foxy's. Well, actually, there's another quick spotlight. Foxy's been doing a great job managing the videos
been
for the
great.
channel.
He's been great, yeah.
I can't thank him enough. Everyone show Foxy some love. Next week's guest, fellas, ladies and gentlemen, is a creator by the name of Sapara. It's a name I'm not
Yes.
familiar with. Lad, fill us in. What are we looking forward to next week, buddy?
So Sapara was a player for when I was helping running Spearhead server with Mass. Him and the Own Boys, as they were, they were a bandit group that they got some shenanigans going on, but
Awesome.
always had really good banter with them. They reached out to me. Well, Sapara did, hoping I would recognize him, and I did. He asked, if he could come on the show, and honestly, I didn't see why not. So, waiting for him to come in. Not only is he a player, he is a content creator. He does do his own little assortment of videos. So hopefully you guys stick around and watch next week, and we'll have a chat with him, see how he's doing.
I'm looking forward to
You guys
that one.
need to get.
We need more true bandits in DayZ, not just people who run around KOS, but people who like to, as I always describe it, they like to play with their food.
Like Lad did the guy today, Tim, right? Was that today?
It was a misclick, all right? It
Yeah,
was a genuine
yeah,
misclick.
yeah.
Oh, no, I'm sorry, I've misclicked.
Yeah,
Oh dear!
You see,
Oh
you,
I'm
dear!
terribly used to using knives.
you did a Stimpy accent earlier, and now you're using the Stimpy excuse of misclick.
Hey man, hey man,
Friendly,
put your hands
friendly.
up. Put your hands up. Put your
No, you
hands up.
guys need to get Nitno on here. I know I mention it every time I come here.
Yeah.
but Nitno
Yes.
is awesome. I think he'd be a good
Getting
guest.
to reach out to us, and we'll schedule that in. We're pretty much booked
Absolutely.
out until the 24th of March.
Probably
folks.
mid-March.
So,
Yeah.
and we've got a few big names coming up as well. So watch your space. We'll release the schedule for February probably this week on the Discord as well. Discord.gg/87A Survivor FM. If you want to get involved with the community, it's a great community to be in. But there's always some great discussions going on in there about anything and everything to do with DayZ, and we've even been talking about the scam before. Sorry, the day before. Sorry, what's it going to be called now? Oh, who knows? Fucking, that's just
Find
that's a
out in
rabbit hole.
November
Yeah,
2025.
That's a rabbit hole. I'm going to say it. Who the fuck launches a game and doesn't trademark the fucking name of their game? God, they're fucking idiots. They are idiots.
Honestly,
I'm sorry.
Honestly,
That is the
you know who's
dumbest
the
thing I've
idiot?
ever
The
heard.
people who pre-order that shit.
No,
I don't know how many times people.
Can you even pre-order that game yet? I don't think you could you?
I'm just talking about alpha games in general,
Yeah.
man. Like I don't know how many times people are gonna let themselves get scammed.
I know that DayZ
kinda
game,
ridiculous.
man. I fucking bought that. What's going on with that game?
Hey, it's still doing better than Dirt Matter. You guys heard of that game? What about that game Dead Side? You guys played that lately? Jesus Christ.
But yeah, guys, thank you all so much, everyone. We will see you next week, same time, same channel, with Supara, and we'll be having a good day on that one. The day after. I like that. But Dave, thank you all so much, everyone. Say bye-bye.
See you later, guys.
Cheers, everybody.